Hello, my name's Michael Conneely, and this is the part 2 video about the July full moon. Its energies are so vast and extensive and potentially so benefic that I describe the energies of the sun and moon themselves in the part 1 video because I felt it would swamp us to cover the whole thing. But here in this part 2 video, I list the very useful to know additional energies held by the full moon. Now, to see the charts of this full moon, go to the July month page on my Starwheel Astrology website under the More drop down, and also see the link in the screen below for the blog post. So what are the additional energies to the huge energies of Moon Pluto opposite Sun Jupiter? Well, first of all, Uranus is at 10 Vedic Taurus, but it's conjunct Sedna at 8 Vedic Taurus. And note importantly that Uranus-Sedna are square the nodal axis of this full moon's chart. Uranus is the energy of revolution coming to us now, but Sedna is the energy of terrible events. However, the truth is that experiencing and working successfully with nasty events has the potential for us to connect to the divine nature. If this conjunction aspects one or more of your planets, or occupies or aspects a sensitive house, be careful, be diligent, be aware, and do the work to reap the challenging to achieve harvest. It's just like in the story of Inuit Eskimo goddess Sedna. And indeed, if you get a reading from me, I'll look into how this affects you. But it's really important to know it's there. Okay. The second additional energy is that Vesta and Eris are conjunct at 6 Vedic Aries, or 25 Western Aries. And this is a wonderful energy to understand and connect to, and bring into your full moon transformative healing and growth work. The Vesta-Eris conjunction is intense. It's a highly focused drive for each of us to fight for our authentic truth and find out, of course, what that is. And to join Vesta's wonderful spiritual devotion and sacred focus. And to join it too, the disruptive, pioneering warrior spirit of Eris. Find out about the Vestal Virgins and Eris, what a combination we can achieve now. So at this time we need to learn to stand up for who we really are, who we were meant to be, and what we really believe in. Many of us will have been brought up not to know who we really are, not to know about what we need to really believe in. But Vesta is the wonderful temple sacred flame, tended by the Vestal Virgins in Greece and Rome, and elsewhere in that region. Asteroid Vesta is a wonderful sense of sacred place, and you can create your sacred place for you to work in, to define the energies of this full moon and to work with them with inner dedication, focused commitment, and being spiritually devoted to our authentic self and what that is for this incarnation, destroying false commitments and false identities, turning the pain of the denied you into the power of the real you. Now, bringing this into your full moon work. So the next additional energy is that Chiron is at Western Taurus, T-square the moon, which is of course opposition the sun. They're in what's called an ambivalence triangle to the nodes. Amazing. Chiron is conjunct Vesta and T-square the full moon itself, and Chiron is apex to an ambivalence triangle to the nodal axis as well, i.e. sextile to Rahu North Node and trine to Ketu South Node. What does this mean? Well, this means that by doing healing work, it will so help your union of the energy calls of Moon conjunct Pluto and Sun conjunct Jupiter and combining them. And it also means that the healing work can fairly happily help us to move in the direction from Ketu South Node to Rahu North Node at this time, if we examine the astrology and do the work offered by the Chiron realization. Get a reading from me if you want to include this. Healing and fears may indeed be rather strong, even fierce, but the process can have its more calm and successful facets. This energy can let us get better identification of the nature of our personal existential wound, our personal Chiron, and commit to bringing in the healed me, the healed you instead. It won't be quick, but it's so good to know what it's about, develop the perception, make the intention now and start the work now. So the next of the rather a lot of huge energies of this full moon, Uranus is the apex of an ambivalence triangle to the full moon. This tells us that revolution is needed now. Uranus is sextile Sun Jupiter. Uranus is trine Moon Pluto. Where Sun Jupiter and Moon Pluto are of course in opposition to each other, but they're both aspected by Uranus, the planet of revolution, discovered at the time of the storming of the Bastille. So this means so importantly that we need to identify our needed revolution now. And we need to successfully bring in our needed revolution now. This is in order to become our needed new self now. And we would need to do vision work and intention work in order to identify our needed revolution, no doubt. You know, the harmonic and divisional charts can wonderfully help in a reading, and also open to what's in our unconscious and our shadow and do the work with that. Okay, the next aspect is that there's actually a cradle chart aspect shape in the chart. So it's topped by Moon Pluto opposition Sun Jupiter, i.e. the full moon itself, and the cradle's base is Neptune sextile Uranus. Now, depending on what part of the world you're in, check out if you are offered cradling, if the cradle is the right way up, or is it tipping you out, the cradle's on its side or upside down. That's important. Deep power and expansive spiritual perceptions and growth potentials combine to cradle you at this time, or depending on where on the earth you are, to tip you out of your cradle. You need to experience that and yet get on with the needed work. The next energy is Venus is the apex of a T-square to Lilith opposition Mars Ceres conjunction. Now, if these planets' intense energies connect to your chart, you may well feel your love and value issues are being highlighted and affected by what is stuffed down in your unconscious and your shadow. You may feel that so strongly at the time of this full moon. And it could, it could activate anger, volatility, passion, rebellion. There could be tension between wanting relationship but also wanting independence in a way that would need to be understood and so carefully coupled with relationship. But there is potential for a harvest if awareness work and healing and growth work is done starting at this time. In which case, creative, constructive, loving energies can be made to become the end result from this full moon and the work you're doing. Ideally, love, harmony, self-worth. Let's work for those. Commit to any sort of Venus energy outcome from this period. And I think it's the penultimate energy. Saturn in Pisces, Vedic Pisces, is square Mercury in Gemini. Now Mercury went direct from July the 23rd. So the potential messes of Mercury retrograde are beginning to clear. But Saturn squares this Mercury. Be aware of that. Now Saturn, with his energies of discipline, structure, duty, hard work, limits, is in the sign of Vedic Pisces. Has been all year. So wonderfully, this is such a good time, Saturn and Pisces, to combine that to doing vision work and intuition work and being disciplined and structured about the vision work, about the intuition work. Do be aware of that, do respond to it. This combination is such a wonderful call for each of us to build a reality now, to be disciplined in how we do that. So let's go for it. And lastly, amongst the huge important to know energies, let's be aware that Neptune is the apex of a talent triangle with Pluto moon trine revolutionary Uranus. This talent triangle, if it aspects the planets in your chart or activates key houses, again calls to the need for each of us to get it together and do the work now with talent so as to reap the wonderful harvest of Uranus revolutionary change offered. We're called to do vision work, Neptune in Pisces, in order to identify our Pluto moon, death and rebirth needed work now, and be structured, responsible and disciplined about it now, and ongoing do the work with vision, Saturn in Pisces. So to get a reading from me, go to my Starwheel Astrology website, and the sorts of healings I do are also on the Starwheel Astrology Healings page, on the Starwheel Astrology website's healing page. There's one page under the general healings page for my healings and one for my wife Maggie Pashley. So one option is simply to book for a reading with me, and then, if possible healing work emerges, agree to, do that as the next step, move on and do it after the reading. Whatever you feel would help. So I wish you all the success with this hugest of energies, full moon. May each of us really bring in needed revolution, really become who we need to become. Thank you.